Hello, hello. Oh,
Hello, hello.
you disconnected. So I just want to start, Trisha. Here, I'm seeing you had signed up. Did you? I just added a link in Patreon. So if you're there already, you can still just pop on. The link is there. I did send the email out. So sorry if there was, but anyway, I added the link on Patreon and I did email you. If you had put it under the post there, that's where I kind of was communicating with people on Patreon.
So, folks, welcome, welcome. If you are like wondering what's going on, why there are four ladies here today. So, this is a mini class that we talked about for the last month, maybe. So, if you are in a Patreon group, you probably got notification that today is the mini class that Marlon is hosting. Marlon of Montreal Confections, and she's going to show you how to decorate this dress cookie with denim. What would you call it? Corset, jacket,
I was calling it like a vintage outfit.
vintage outfit. Okay, sorry, I totally messed that up.
Fine. I'm
So
just saying,
vintage
like, I thought it
outfit. So
looked
today,
kind of.
so today that's the plan, and also if you are part of the Patreon, you have access to template and also prep videos. So those ladies here that you see, June and Sally, so they will be joining Marlene and they will be decorating with us live. I am still checking out all the comments, so don't worry, we won't neglect you. Hello everyone, Cynthia, Joseph, Kathy, Trisha.
So if you did purchase it on coffee, the full class is there. So there's the link at the top of the supply list to the full class that was pre-recorded. So, okay. All right.
I'm,
So
I'm,
today,
I'm loving it. I'm
you're
loving
loving
it.
it.
Thank you for sharing. Love it. Hello. Hello, ladies. Love it when you do the group classes. Thank you.
So Sally, are you ready? June, you ready? June's
Hello,
getting a little
hello.
delay with her audio.
Yes, but we'll
Give us a thumbs up, June.
it's the technical issues, but it will be fine. So guys, if you have any questions in regards to decorating or things we are doing, just pop them in the comment section. Oh, June lost
Lost
sound.
sound. Oh.
Okay, so we'll hopefully we can.
So June, if at the bottom there you can see settings. Okay, if you click settings underneath, there's an audio option, and you can pick the audio there. If you look at, do you see settings at all at the bottom? Can you, if you can't hear me, June, you can put your Facebook on maybe on another screen so you can hear what's going on. I'm sorry if that's.
Put the headset, put your earplugs in and earplugs.
So I'm sorry.
Headset in.
We're gonna have to persevere.
Gatlinburg. We have somebody from Gatlinburg. Oh, I've been there several times. Is Tennessee, right? Tennessee Pigeon Forge.
So
Heather, love
sorry,
it.
June. That's that's the joys of these technical issues. All right. So this is the project. So there are 4 cookies. The template and actually the whole video will be released tomorrow on Patreon if you want to still make the project. And so today I had given all the instructions. We're starting off at a certain the preliminaries have been done and everybody was informed. I just want to highlight this particular area on the dress. So we're only working on the jacket and the skirt during live. And if you see, these are 2 cookies, but because of the jacket overhang, there's a bit of an overhang over the skirt with the icing. Well, it hides the seam between them. So it doesn't look like a puzzle. It kind of like fits together and it hides that little seam. So June, do we have you now? Can you hear us?
Can you hear us?
She's
I can
muted.
hear you.
Okay, there she is.
Okay, excellent.
I'm good.
Perfect.
I can hear you.
Awesome. That's terrible. You prepare and then this happens. Ah!
All right, so I'm going to
Technology.
do a little video dance here. Marlon, are you going to show some details of the project?
I'm just going to show a few. So the steps that were done in advance, that June and Sally, I'm just going to show. So we had obviously made our cookies. They're hand-cut cookies. And then the preliminary on this particular step was we added with a stiff icing, a 102, or you could even do it in a 104, a slight ruffle on the edge of the cookie. And this is kind of to look like a bit like a, little bit of fancy underneath the skirt that is rested on top. So you let this dry a little bit because I am using water to smooth it. And so that moisture, could cause this icing to just get overly wet. So you just want to let that brush embroidery dry a bit. And then I'm just flooding and letting this dry. So the ladies did this already because we need this to be dry so that when we pipe on top, the icing, can, and then they were also added their guidelines with their airbrush, or you can do it with a marker, whatever you have your favorite technique. And then the other step that needed to be done for today was for the jacket, was you add the guidelines on, and this is you cut your own stencil, use the projector, and then there's just like a thin layer of icing added inside the jacket just to create like a little bit of dimension, like so that it looks like it's like not all one layer. So this is the inside of the jacket. So again, this dries and then we'll be able to pipe. So these are like the steps that we did before so that we be ready for today now. And then I'm just re-airbrushing the guidelines on. So that's it. All right, so let's look at, oh, no, we're going to do it, not a video. So let me turn on my camera. Yes, you can do the dance for me. And
I'm going to try to do the dance for you there.
thank you. You're such a good dancer.
My pleasure. Thank
So
you.
hands in charge of your comments or questions. So please,
Yes.
free
Hello,
to.
everyone. No, Amber is not here. She'll be back next week, I believe. Julie, hello, everyone. So, everyone, hello, Susan. Oh, so you're decorating along with, but you are also making some flower bouquets. What temperature should I put my oven on to bake cookies?
I'm sorry.
What oven temperature do you use to bake your cookies?
I bake them at 350.
350.
Yeah,
That's
usually.
150 Celsius, if anyone is asking or wondering.
So again, I just want to re-show the photo, the thing about the photo that I showed. So you see these cookies, if I show it there, you see how the seam gets hidden by the ruffle. So the ruffle is a little bit angled up, you see, because if it's flat, if you look at it here, can you see like it's a bit got like a bit of a like a flower, like a flower petal. It's a bit so that when they come together, they don't, like it hides that. I really like that aspect of the puzzle because sometimes there's like a really big gap and it doesn't look as seamless. Okay, so you want to look for your petal tip the width of that. So if I had done a 102 or a 104, you can just do a bigger wiggle if you need to fill in the area. But you see, it's about the width of my piping tip, the cookie here. And so you want an icing that's on the stiff side here so that can kind of hold up, right? So I've added a general little line here just to know where that's going to be cut. And then the rest is smooth icing. So it's two consistencies on the cookie here, okay? And so I'm just, fat edge is towards the top here, and then the narrow edge is towards the bottom. And you're going to let it kind of go a little bit past the cookie, but you want to angle your piping tip a little bit up. You don't want to be hugging the cookie. You want to angle it a little bit up so that that little ruffle will be able to hide what, like I was explaining, you see? So I'm just doing a wiggle. So it's just didn't stick. So I'm just going to start again because the cookie is like a bit dry. So sometimes it doesn't adhere, especially with the stiff icing. And I'm just doing a wiggle and letting it kind of hang off.
These cutters, where are these cutters from?
This is hand cut.
And you have a template in your coffee?
I did put it in coffee, but it's in the group on Patreon, and it's in yours too,
Yes.
right?
Yes, it's also in my Patreon.
So you see now I'm using, you can use a paintbrush to either flatten it down. Here I've got like my boo-boo stick handy. So I'm just trimming it so that when I come in and add the smooth icing here, and you don't have to hurry because there's going to be a belt hiding the seam. But you can see here how it's up. So I'm using the freshly iced cookie, and you can see how it's going to hide the little seam there on the skirt, okay? So if it doesn't work out and it's not nice, you can just scrape it off and do it again. And if the seam is visible, it's not a huge deal, but it's just a trick. Like there's a lot of platters now and stuff. Mother's Day is coming. So if you're doing a little bit of a puzzle thing, this is just a little option if you want to make your seams a little bit more invisible. So
June, can you hear? Just give me a thumbs up if you can hear.
she's got a bit of a delay, June,
Right.
from what I...
Yeah? Okay. Hopefully she can hear.
Thank you, Charlotte.
Oh, garden. I love the sound of that. That's a beautiful blue. Yes, that's a good question. Maybe how did you achieve this blue?
It's just navy blue.
Oh,
Like,
navy.
don't,
So if they don't have navy blue because it's not a color everybody kind of gets. It's not like the top color.
well,
So
you
how would
can
you achieve
add
that?
just, if you get the gels that attain the high, like the darkest color, well, you can always use those gels to make lighter colors, just add less of it. So it kind of gives you a
But I
wider
mean, if
spectrum.
they don't have the navy blue at all, what
Well,
would
in
you?
the lives that I've watched, Amber makes it and she puts black in her
Yeah,
blue, I
black.
think.
Yeah, like royal blue and black. I would do.
Yeah, yeah.
That's how I
So
make mine.
now you're using the same, it's the same color, just a runnier consistency. And now I'm just doing the rest of the jacket. And you don't have to, sometimes the seam you have to do it quickly, but in this particular case, there's a belt, so you don't have to worry so much about the seam. So we're just basically filling in the whole jacket that's left, except we're not filling in here, this part here, we're outlining those outlines there, and we're gonna this is the inside of the jacket.
And
So
this
this,
is number 2, I think.
yeah, because I'm flooding and it's a little, I'm not doing a 3 just because it's a bit detailed and stuff. Maybe if I wasn't on camera, I'd do a 3 to go faster, but I just don't want to screw up in front of you guys. So I'm using a bit of a smaller tip and I have only one cookie. So if you had to work a lot of them, I'd probably do a 3. So you're just outlining and flooding, and you want to leave this in here, this gap uniced, just with that base layer. And so it looks like there's like, the inside of a jacket. So if it was laying on your bed, the back of it is a little bit deeper in. It's just to give it a little bit more relief and dimension instead of just like a one-dimensional thing. And so when you're icing and you want all the outline to be healed into the base layer, you have to work somewhat fast because that outline does start drawing quite quickly. And so if you don't want a separation between that outline and your flood icing, you're using dual consistency. You do have to work relatively quickly, depending also on your climate, because that can speed up the drying if you live in a really dry climate.
Hello, Deborah. Thanks for joining us. So today we have a mini class that Marilyn is teaching with lovely ladies. June and Sally are joining us, and they're decorating along with Mar.
So if you want, you can stab it or you can pick it up, and just this rocking helps. If your icing is not healing on its own, that little agitation helps, and then you can just heal the stabbing. The stabbing just makes it so that you don't have to pick up the cookie. If you've iced the cookie really close to the edge, sometimes you can end up damaging it. So if you do the stabbing, well, you just avoid like kind of picking it up. You see how it's so close to the edge. If you pick it up, you could end up just kind of creating a dent in your icing. You see?
We'll see, Bobby. Thank you.
That just to we were hoping to have a little bit more interest, no pressure. But
Yeah, there's not that doesn't seem to be enough interest.
and I realize it's easier for evenings and stuff, but there's a time difference for Han. She's like, what time is it right now? 8, 9?
It's 7:19 at
Oh, with
night.
the time change, before the
Yeah,
time change, it was
yeah,
later.
it's 6 hours.
Yeah, it's the
We are 6 hours ahead here.
okay. So we're just gonna set the cookie aside when you guys are done. We're gonna let it crust over because we're adding here. Let me bring back the other one. So for the second bit, we're adding here. You see again. So this is that background area, and then we're gonna be adding this kind of collar, and then the belt. Oh, and this cuffs. So
And
this
the beaded, that's a nice detail. I like that on the beaded.
this
No.
this.
Yes.
So yeah, it's just to make it look a little bit more interesting, like, oh, it's 9 a.m. in Alaska. Your day's just starting.
Thanks for joining.
Yes.
Good morning, coffee. Good morning for the
It's
modular.
international live, so there's all kinds of different time
Yes,
for
guys, where are you? It's always fun to see. Last time we had such an international viewers, which was really great from all
so
over the world.
yes, I'm always surprised though. Sometimes a country will get popped in. I'm like, oh my gosh. So the thing about, I made these blue and yellow, but you could obviously make them any color you like. If you're making them maybe for Mother's Day, you can pick your mom or the special person in your life and make them whatever color that, you think they would like. So normally when I add guidelines, I don't add dark brown guidelines. This is for you guys that maybe, just it was a question of visibility. It is quite a dark contrasting color, not ideal. So take note. Normally I do like to airbrush or add my guidelines in a color that isn't so harsh if they're left peeking out. So here's my tipless bag. I'll tell you, recently I've taken to starting to use my old methods back again. Back in the day, we use that thicker plastic, the coupler and the piping tips. I have been going back to that a little bit, trying to reduce the amount of plastic because the tipless bags, I find them difficult to wash, so I tend to throw them out. And so, yeah, I'm just trying to do, if I can, rinse out a bag and, cut down putting some in the trash 1 week. So if you see me in a video, you wonder why I'm using a piping tip. That's why. It's just trying to reduce the amount of plastic I'm putting in the trash. So when you're cutting your tipless bags, you flatten it. The seam, you can see it. It's difficult on camera, but you'll see there. And so ideally that seam is on top and you're cutting straight across. You don't want to have your scissors angled, and the kind of scissors you use matters. You don't have to get fancy scissors, but they have to be sharp because obviously if you're cutting and you're hacking up the plastic, well, you're not going to have a nice opening and you're going to get wonky icing coming out. It's impossible to get a nice line if you've hacked up the end of your piping bag. And then you can test it and you see it's about a 2 size.
So Kathy has a question. Sometimes I see you use a piping bag and but with no coupler. You don't need a coupler to keep the tip snug in the piping bag.
No, you don't need the coupler. The coupler, why I use a coupler is because the coupler allows you to change the piping tip. Sometimes you'll want to maybe come in and do a little detail. Well, then you'd have to prep another bag. But the coupler allows you to just quickly switch it out, or you get a clog, easily take out the piping tip, run it, under the sink, and that's the difference between having a coupler and no coupler.
Yes. Heather, I'm feeling it too. Are you fighting a nap? Yes, I'm feeling it.
So if we look at the one that's done, so this isn't a crazy design. So what's happening here is we're trying to, like, if you imagine these skirts that were all kind of pleated, so the pleats go in and out, right? It's like becomes like very there's a lot of movement.
It has the Snow White vibe, right?
Oh yeah, I can see where you're going. Yeah. There is maybe a Snow White. Uh, And so that's it. So it's just now you're picking which one you want to do. So you're alternating, leaving one with nothing and then one with like to look a little bit more raised. So I'm looking here, I'm realizing that I did a mirror, like because they're hand cut. So I flipped it. I didn't realize, but it doesn't matter. See, the pleats are like
Oh, yes.
mirrored it, but it doesn't matter. So,
It should be fine.
yeah, I'm just making like in case you're noticing the difference. So here, like let's say you were trying to cut on time, you could leave it like that. I don't hate it. Just
Would you say that airbrushing it, like I would think like you airbrushed it darker for
yeah,
your guys, but then once it's like done, once it's bleeding done, it almost like when there is some of that brown peeking out, it gives
yes,
it like extra dimension. Like,
give it a little bit more like like a shaded look. I was thinking about adding like a fade of airbrush, but so now you see I've left this here at the level, and so I'm skipping one. And so you're just skipping one without one section. So you're looking at it like basically like vertical lines. So I'm not filling here, not filling here, filling here, not filling here, filling here. So you see it, ladies, you're just alternating down, up, down, up. So it's really just,
and what is the consistency of this icing? Because these are quite narrow. It's pretty
so
thick.
this, yeah, so this is, you don't want to have an icing that's super easy to heal because the runnier the icing is, the flatter it dries. So if you want to make sure that your sections stay nice and raised, well, you're going to need an icing that's on the stiffer side. But because these areas are so small, they're generally pretty easy to heal up. If you want, you can do that skeleton technique. For me, I've not had great success with that technique. I find that my icing kind of like hugs those skeleton lines that I add, and I tend to see them on the completed project.
Sometimes, yes, I agree. Sometimes that can be, yes, that can happen. Well, yeah, I also find like if you want to really smooth the icing, and you forget, you go too deep and then you disturb that support line. So that doesn't always work.
So here I'm taking it all the way to the edge where that little ruffle was, that brush embroidery, and I'm piping. So I'm just filling in, like I say, those. So this is egg yolk or just yolk yellow by Americolor. It's like a little bit warmer than the electric. I find the electric doesn't really look
Yeah.
like a color people would wear. Maybe like for certain projects, but it's not like conventional clothes yellow. If you know what I mean?
More muted,
Yeah.
more like muted and just, yes. I don't
Maybe
always use electric. Do you always use electric yellow? I don't usually use just lemon yellow. And then, yeah, I will mute it down with, depending on the project, with ivory or a little bit of orange. You can just see what it does to the color if you want to experiment with different coloring techniques.
Are you guys okay, Sally? You good?
June, how is it going? I don't know if June can hear us.
I think she did. I think she does. So you can see now, you see I'm alternating. And again, once this is done, you can experiment. Like we looked at the airbrushing last week and the week before. Like you can, test out airbrushing, like, tones of yellow before, and then, because obviously inside the pleat is darker. Or you can paint it, experiment to see. These projects are fun to just, try different things. So this one here, I'm actually just doing a line. I'm not doing a
Hmm,
section.
section.
I'm just adding a line. The next one here is a section. This
Now,
design, you could, if you wanted, paint on little flowers, dots.
I'm thinking even sanding yellow sanding sugar or something. Maybe not. I don't know.
I don't know if the sanding sugar would work with regards to the pleats. It might make it a little bit hard. Like it's hard to pipe on a sanding sugar base to get a nice line. But
Oh, and like the pleats would be the scent like that you would like lightly dust it, but I don't know if that will work because that might look too bulky then.
maybe disco dust instead.
Yes.
Anybody have fun plans for the weekend?
Um, I
Tomorrow is
don't, but I realize next weekend is Mother's Day. Oh, hello, Pamela.
Hello.
Oh,
oh,
hello.
hello.
Thanks for joining.
Sorry I'm late.
No
It's
problem.
okay.
All right.
So
So
we've gone through the process of making the jacket, and now Marlon is doing obviously this is the skirt. So guys, if you are just joining us and are wondering what are we working on today, this is a live mini class, and all these wonderful ladies here in these small windows here are decorating along with Mar, and they are all patrons Patreon subscribers where they found the template and all the steps that they needed to do before the class. So if you are not subscribed to our Patreon, you can subscribe. This is Marlon's Patreon, and it's easy to find. You don't have to copy all of that. You can just use Patreon Montreal Confections in a Google search, and it's probably going to come up. And I also have a Patreon group, and that's a subscription based group. It's a monthly subscription.
so you can see now it looks a little like this one here I find looks more right there, but you can see the point of those airbrushed kind of lines. It was just
Mhm.
guidelines for you guys to be able to see. And let's say this does like you were working on it on at home, you could come in with alcohol perhaps and mute it, activate the airbrush color and
Mhm.
like have it be a little bit more like watercolorish. Oh, hi Susan. It's
Yeah.
prom weekend. Oh,
But
that's
like you said, you wouldn't normally use this brown. You would use color that is not so harsh. This is just for the purposes so folks could really see, right?
yes,
You
yes.
would use some like a different color, but I agree. The water, the activating it with alcohol would be great to give it to really achieve that depth.
Help it to oh, Rachel, you're doing your Lamaze classes. Well, that's exciting.
It's fantastic.
Yes.
It's it's prom weekend. Oh, how fun! Oh, Heather, you are. Oh my God, we love Great Smoky Mountains. There is a oh, fun, so pretty.
Well, I was thinking, and I might try it on this one here. Let me just get my airbrush.
So, how is it going, Sally? June, are you keeping up with Mar? I see Sally's working on the dress.
Is my brown not?
Oh, and June as well. Awesome.
I'm going to try
Oh,
and
so you're doing different colors. You are doing different colors. That will be really pretty. I will look for the pictures, June.
oh, you see, it's of course. Let me get another one.
Oh, it wasn't clean, huh?
It was spitting. I had it sitting there.
A hard time. So this is what happens. You have to with the airbrushes. It sometimes will. It's better You always recommend, right, to test on a paper towel prior going, because you just never know what's going on inside of the airbrush. It has sometimes mind on its own.
Yeah, exactly.
Alana also loves your pink, June. It was really pretty.
I just want to see if I add the brown a bit coming from the top, and then I add.
Pamela, I guess.
There. See, now it's got a darker like area, but then if I come in and
I'm totally like a Snow White, totally Snow White for me, those colors. So this could be like a Snow White project also. Use that to inspire you guys.
well, some like people love their whatever princess that they loved in their childhood up till they're adults. They still love
Absolutely.
them. So
Exactly. So this could be like just change up the colors. Tinkerbell is what, green? Is Tinkerbell green? Green and like lots of sparkle, I think. Then what do we have? We have Snow White, and then we have
Belle,
Belle. Well, Belle is also yellow, right? That will be yellow.
Cinderella.
Cinderella, that's blue, right? I'm really out. This is like I have to like I'm all the princesses. So what else is there? G,
So
green one. What's the green one? Anyway, so it's I think it's applicable for all the princesses, really.
So I just want to like show you. See, like now here I had added the shading, and you can do it like not as harsh as that, but you can have like if you dilute the brown, like I've mentioned in the past, where you like dilute the alcohol before with alcohol, the airbrush color, and you see then you'd have like the shading inside the pleats. So
Yes, Jeremy. Welcome aboard. Yes, that's June and Sally. You recognize them, so that's great.
so here you can play with the shading inside the pleats. You see. And June was mentioning for her color, she wanted to add a little poodle to her skirt to give
Oh,
it even more of like the vintage vibe. Or you could do, what would they do? Like school stuff was usually also on their skirts. Like, wasn't school letters or something sewn on them or something like that?
well, I can't wait to see all the finished projects. So don't forget to send them to us or share them with us.
I'm going to move that. We'll go back to the jacket. All right, so let's look at the actual like done one and the one we're working on. So the brown is the belt, and you can do the buckle in icing, but they sell sequins, and they're already painted gold, and they come in different sizes. You can get these at Michael's, and there's here I have big ones and small ones, and they make great little metallic elements. If you make a purse or like this for a belt buckle, or I mean, just whatever you can imagine. Like let's say maybe tools. Like if you're making a hammer, they come in silver as well. You know, like when the tools are put together, there's like little.
Not
Uh,
uh,
you know what I'm talking. Or you could do nails. Let's say you do put.
knit. Is it a knit? No, what is it?
I have no idea the terms of
Is
tools
it
there,
a knit or something? But you could also, if you don't have these or you can act like find them, you could use your or you could make them with a stencil. It's not as these sprinkles are pretty thick that Marlon is using, and they are really like very nice to use and so
they're a cute
convenient.
detail. They're a cute
Oh,
detail.
we do have a few questions. Mary Jean is asking, how big is this cookie when you put the two pieces together? So have you measured?
probably like 6 or 7 inches, probably 7, I'd say. So now it's the brown icing for the belt, and this is like it has to heal because it's leather. You don't want a wrinkly belt. Maybe you do, but not for this project. I don't want a wrinkly belt. And so I'm just filling it in, and then while it's wet, I'm attaching little my little sprinkle, like I say. But hypothetically, if you don't have these little like rivets, I think Mary Jean called it, you can actually wait for this to dry and then come in and do the little extra dot in brown on top. And then brown is a great base actually to paint. So you'll easily be able to paint with your gold edible paint on top of the brown. It's a good background brown for when you're doing brown like as your gold background. So yellow works, brown, red actually works as a nice
You can
background.
also do a regular buckle too, if you want. If you
Oh
want.
yeah, you can do whatever. You can put a heart there.
There, yes, a little something.
By the way, I use the 31R. You know that little tip that is flat?
Oh yeah, your little belt one.
Yeah, so I just did that.
Perfection.
Yes, that's great. Or you could also use the basket weave and cover it up
Yes.
partially with the
Yes, I
masking tape and it's so many
you
different.
through your sprinkles. Maybe you have sprinkles that would work. There's some nice flower sprinkles.
Exactly.
A star might work.
So Kathy is asking to dilute airbrush color. Just add a drop of alcohol to the airbrush cup that already has a few drops color in it. Is that how you?
No, usually I'll actually do it in a little paint palette just so I can see it. Because if you put it in the airbrush first, the actual airbrush, and then you put the alcohol, well, that alcohol, the color is in that little like hole, and so it's not going to be equally mixed. It's going to be like
You know what I do, like because I actually have done like something like that. So I will then hold the opening on the gun and I will pull back the
Oh
trigger.
yes, make it mix in here.
Or make like mix it, but it may work, for certain things or it may not. So you have to be careful.
Thanks, Diane. So
You
now I decided to add, just for some interest here on the edges of the sleeves, a little cuff. So I'm just kind of angling it sort of pointed so that it's wider towards the outside. And then I'm immediately flooding it so that I get like the look of a little cuff. And once it was crusted, I used that brown icing and added like a little button. But you want to wait till it's dry so that it'll look like up, on top of it, not melted inside. And you want to get it to heal. So there's my little cuff on the edge of my jacket, you see?
And what would you say is the portion of alcohol to airbrush color? What?
Well, it all depends how dark you want your color. If you want it really a muted, and you can test it on your surface or whatever, but if you're working and you want light colors, it's the way to kind of get your colors to be lighter, because even a light misting of a dark color, it looks quite dark. So I find it's the way to control the level of pigment if you're trying to just do a blush, like a faint color. Like for shading and stuff, I find that if you're doing shading of a color, it tends to be very harsh quickly. So there's those little cuffs.
So cute, this project.
I see you wearing this outfit.
Like if you have a friend who often wears an outfit that, you could match that color of the outfit or design and just create something like that for someone. It's very cute.
If you have girlfriends, you could prep it all and invite them over and do a little decorating party.
Yes.
So ideally, if you're a beginner, you'd want this to crust over a little bit so that you could add like the guidelines. for the collar, but it's not so out there to be able to eyeball it. So I'm going to be doing that exactly, eyeballing it.
So I think that's a great idea. So if you yes, you can mix larger
Yes.
quantities of special airbrush colors. Just let's say you don't have certain color, you want to have a specific moss color or
Yes,
avocado or something like that. So
absolutely.
you can prepare them and just mix them and have them labeled in small bottles. They do sell small bottles. They're convenient to use for
So
this. It's a great
let's
idea.
say here's one for you. Let's say your airbrush color is empty. Well, you could put alcohol in it, and the remnants in that container will be activated by the alcohol that you add. Maybe you don't want to fill it up, but if you add it like a quarter of the alcohol and you give it a good shake, well, you're going to revive the sediment and what's dried around, you know what I mean? And then you get your light airbrush color and you can have it that way. Are you getting me? You know, like you're kind of using up your empty bottle, if you will, activating it. Okay. So now I'm looking here. If I look, you see the line. It's not that hard. I'm following. You see the hole. So I'm following. I'm going about a centimeter below. I'm going a little bit, and I'm following here. So I do have some reference point of how to pipe the collar.
Centimeter is like
Oh,
less than half inch for those folks that don't know centimeter. So that's like a little less than half or quarter inch, you would say. Is it a quarter inch? No, it's like a half inch, no? Half, yes.
it's about let's say a third. Let's say a third.
Okay.
So that's it. So you're using the hole as your guide and the outer perimeter as your guide to know where to pipe the collar, okay? Because we can't write on the icing, it was just piped. So I'm about here, I'm following the edge, I'm going past here the hole like that. And
Yeah,
then
yes, but I think yes, I think it would be great. It would be great. You could do the dress. I don't think there is nothing wrong with it, and don't feel awkward.
and you can see here now I'm getting the
Oh,
collar, you see, and it's above. And now immediately you want to flood this so that it doesn't get an outline, right? You want the outline to heal into the flood icing. So this is a small tip. I'm working with the 1.5. I had switched to do the fine lines. So this is a 1.5. This is even smaller than that 2 that I flooded, but it's the same icing. So there. And you want to get this to heal, your little jacket.
this looks very thick. This icing. So this is to avoid cratering and just have nice puffy finish.
Well, that's it. It's such a small area too. Well, the reason too that it maintained like the ripples that you saw is because it was coming out of such a small hole, right?
Yes. So off subject, Jeremy is loving your cabinet, Sally.
There we go. So we're going to well, now you don't have to let anything crust over. You can just continue. So I decided to add a wiggly line to the edge here where the kind of the bust is. So just to give it a little interest, just a wiggly line, you can see.
All these little details, they really add up, don't they? Like when you showed it side by side, just the base layer and finished, it really such a difference. All these small details that they make it look.
So for the bust, I'm just doing basically like a B shape, I guess.
Mhm.
And then like that. And then immediately
Like
a
a
line.
bird, like a bird when you do the vector of the bird,
Yes.
like yes.
And then I'm adding like a straight line up the center. And this is just like to look like the stitching, you know, like if it had boning. And then I'm following here, like going a little bit curved because it's like, you know, it's supposed to be a curved area. So I'm not adding straight lines. My line broke here. It's not as
Well,
perfect.
Jeremy, I was feeling awkward saying it, so.
And now I'm just adding those little buttons on the side of the cuffs.
Love it.
But
Okay.
that's it.
I would definitely wear this with a big white hat.
A big white hat.
Yes. And a purse. I wonder what color purse. Yes, maybe um a brown purse, light brown, like a brown purse, right?
Here, like this? Like this purse?
Yeah, that would work. Yes, that would absolutely work. And sunglasses, and I'm off to go. Just make me some shoes so I'm not barefoot.
Yes, maybe you should wear some shoes. Here, I'll bring in some shoes. Here, some
Thank you,
shoes.
Alana. Oh, you made shoes too. This is fantastic. So, yes, I would totally wear this.
So here, the shoes, they did dent a little bit. You can see here, and I had added supports, and the support, I can see it here and here, but it caved around it. So the supports are good, but then sometimes it accentuates like where they kind of were added. So this here is just granulated sugar on top of the freshly iced cookie, and just to give it, because the jacket, I wanted it to look a slightly different, so I just added that to give it like a different finish.
Love it. Well, I would most likely not wear heels. I would probably go with sneakers. This is so stinking cute. I
Thank
totally
you.
agree, Susan. Totally agree. It's
So the
absolutely.
whole
I think
the
this
whole
is
video,
a friend of who is a fashionista, you know?
yes, a fashionista, yes.
Absolutely love it. Awesome.
So the whole video is going to be on the 1st of May, released in the Patreon group, like like the edited, not this live replay, like an edited proper video, like normal.
Exclusive tutorials. See, that's what guys happening. It's happening in these um, groups that we have. We share content that we give step-by-step instructions with narration and all the templates. So if you are not if you're not subscribed, like I said, you can subscribe. This is Marlene's Patreon. You can just type into the Google patreon.com/Montreal Confections.
I am exhausted.
You're tired?
No, oh no. Well,
This was the shirt was a little challenging, but yeah, not as bad as the shoes though.
Not as bad as it. But Sally, I mean, if you, because now we're on live and there's like time and stuff, but if you're alone doing it at your own pace,
Yeah.
it's a reasonable. Okay, well, I'm not going to use the word you don't like, but it's a reasonable
Easy,
project.
easy.
it's
June, what did you think? Did you find it was
Yes.
a manageable project?
I have to.
Hey, June, are you hearing me?
I'm trying to unmute June. It's not working. Oh,
There
there.
you go. I got
There.
June. Can you? Oh, she got muted again. What's happening?
I don't know. I'm trying.
Oh, there. She got muted again. I don't know. Oh, there.
I can. I feel like I lost something in the collar. That it looks like it's two separate parts at the top, so I'm not sure what I missed. Mine doesn't look like that.
Yeah, I think it's because this line here
Yes.
is like this one here is slightly lower. You see that? That's because here. This one here is slightly lower. You see that? That's here. So here, I'm gonna just mute it for a second. So here you can see that section is from the whole base layer, and then the collar is slightly up. So that's where the difference is if you examine it there at the collar. So this is kind of lower. So that's the difference maybe.
Ladies, don't feel pressured. We would like to see your finished cookies. So I'm gonna put you on a big screen, and Sally can show us. Oh, lovely!
Very nice, very nice.
Love it. Do you have your jacket?
Well, it's a little too dark. I think I'm gonna do it again.
It's great. I love it. Put some stars on it or something. This is
Looks
very,
like denim. Looks perfect.
very nice. Love it. Love it. Don't be so critical. Just
Well,
because
you know,
it's a different color, I think it's cool. Very cool. So Jeremy wasn't aware that Sally ever gets tired. She produces so many cookies. Yes, he's right. Now I'm gonna bring up June. So can you hear? Oh, I'm trying to, I don't know.
Yes.
Oh,
I
hey.
had a little,
Hey. So can you show us? Oh, that is cute. Oh, yes, yes.
Very nice. June changed the colors. She used a
June
slightly
changed the colors. I love that. And the skirt is pink, right? It's such a great, I love it.
oh, that's beautiful.
It's beautiful, very nice. I
very
think
nice.
like with a very light, like pastel color, you could really add some shimmer to it and make it more like almost like promish, like a gown. So what do we have? So let's see. All right, so Mar is back. My
Well, that's
wife,
it. I'm done the project. I'm done the project. Last spiel that I posted some I did a little sale for the month of May. So all these for Mother's Day are 25% off.
this folks, if you are new to the live, all of the where do we have them? All of the Marlins, all of these are in the coffee shop, which is a platform that we use to sell templates and classes and such. So you're doing 20% off.
25. And so that's it. If you don't want to sign up for the monthly, you're not sure, well, you can buy them individually there.
Yes, so you can see and just type in coffee. You see it on the screen, Montreal Confections, and it usually comes up.
Well, I put the address there and Hans is there too. I put it there.
So
Thanks, everybody. Thanks, Sally. Thanks, June.
Thank you. Thank you a lot. It was great.
thank you, Jeremy. I love my back wall. And you don't have to be jealous because you can do it too. And maybe even better. Everybody's loving it. Beautiful work.
Yeah, she's got her YouTube. Yes.
Yes. Yes, well, it's been hidden in a box for so many years. I decided to show it off. And yes, Julie, thank you for noticing. It's totally unplanned.
Sally
Again,
didn't get the memo.
Wow.
I was like, Sally, because even June, we are matching,
Yeah.
all three of us are matching. I was so excited. Anyway, guys, so we are 5 minutes short of 1 hour, which is great. We are on schedule. So I hope you guys enjoyed watching us or watching ladies decorate. It was awesome.
Thanks, everybody. Thanks. It was
Thank
fun.
you. We'll see you on Tuesday, guys. So
Definitely.
have a great weekend.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.